Alright, what's up, Facebook Live? I'm back with Warren's vlog. I did not list what episode this is. I forgot to do that. I believe it's episode 33. Usually I put that in the video description. But I'll edit that once I get to YouTube. But I am Warren E. Freeman Jr., and today I'm about to review SummerSlam 2002. It's SummerSlam season, folks. It's August, so we all know what that means. It's SummerSlam season, so I'm going to start doing SummerSlam reviews for you. I'm doing a lot of series, actually. One of the series I'm doing is, I told you about the Backlash series, and I'm going to start coming up in a few weeks. I'm doing the, what's up, Tom John? I got the Backlash series coming up. I got all the shows I've been live at series that I'm doing too. So I'll be reviewing TOC 2014 next. But SummerSlam 2002. In my opinion, this has got to be one of the best. What's up, Toya? This has got to be one of the best SummerSlams that I've seen, top to bottom. And these big fours are very important, and that's where I think every wrestler should try their best. They should try their best every night, but the big four usually have the most eyes on them. So this event delivered from top to bottom, and from top to bottom, I'm going to tell you how the event went and review every match. Alright, so we kick off with Kurt Angle. Well, there was no opening video, at least on the WWE Network version of it. There was absolutely no opening video, which I found kind of strange. It was just like fade to black, the little S thingy, and then SummerSlam, and then a pyro display. So no opening video. That was weird. I don't know if the network edited that out for whatever reason. But so anyway, we go Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio. That kicked off the show. Kurt Angle came out. My connection's weakening. If I lose you, I'm sorry. I'll go back live. Anyway, so we start off with Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio. This match had a hot start. Rey Mysterio. Well, Kurt Angle made his entrance, came out to the ring, got in the ring, and waited for Mysterio. So we heard Mysterio's music. Mysterio appeared on the apron behind Kurt Angle and did a reverse Rana. A rolling reverse Rana. Like, that is how this match kicked off. So it kicked off fast and furious. Kurt Angle eventually would ground him and just continue to just basically beat the crap out of Mysterio, which is what you have to do with Mysterio, to soften him. And now, mind you, this is 2002. So Rey Mysterio still had his knees. You know, he could still do the West Coast Pop and all the Ranas and all the, you know, high-flying shit that he used to do because his knees were so healthy at this point. I saw Rey Mysterio counter Kurt Angle's ankle lock into a arm drag. I thought that was awesome right there. That was a nice counter. The ending sequence to that match was Mysterio was attempting a top rope Rana, and it looked like a botch because Mysterio kind of fell, and then Angle kind of just jumped off the top rope, slapped on the ankle lock, and got the tap out. Hot start, I gave that a 3.2. After that, we would see a series of segments throughout the show between Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon, which to me basically set up this weird, like, sexual tension that they had for one another. Like, they were competing, but there was sexual tension there. You could see it. And if you followed the WWE in 2002, you know where that eventually led to Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon making out on Halloween. But enough of that. Chris Jericho versus Ric Flair. It's amazing how good shape Ric Flair was in, and he was old then, and this was 2002. Ric Flair was in pretty good shape. I thought it was funny that JR on commentary was basically burying Jericho's band Fozzy the whole time. I mean, you know, JR is a professional. He did call the match, but he didn't. He kind of buried Fozzy a little bit, which I guess if Jericho is a wrestler, that's what the announcer should be focusing on in the first place. I really liked the storytelling in this match. The storytelling really impressed me. Flair tried to go for Chris Jericho's Walls of Jericho and then got caught in the figure four. Jericho put Flair into the figure four while Flair tried to do Jericho's move. I just thought that was storytelling at its best. And it's just the simple things that gets me excited, that makes me happy to be a wrestling fan and to watch shows like this. What's up, Matt? Um, that ended with Flair would eventually get out of the figure four. They would do some more stuff, and Jericho would like bitch slap the referee by mistake, and the referee was blinded because referees are made of glass. Um, so the referee was blinded momentarily from the slap. Flair hit the low blow on Chris Jericho, slapped in the figure four, and Jericho tapped out. It was great. Sidebar here, Jericho. This was kind of a bad year for Chris Jericho. I mean, kayfabe wise, I mean, damn, Jericho went from being the first undisputed champion to basically being an afterthought as the undisputed champion at WrestleMania 18 that year, which basically the main event there was Triple H and Stephanie. He wasn't booked for Backlash. He lost the Hell in a Cell match against Triple H at Judgment Day. He lost in the King of the Ring. He lost to a rookie named John Cena at Vengeance. He never became anything. No, I'm just playing. Then eventually at SummerSlam he lost to Flair. So Jericho had a pretty bad year, pretty rough year in 2002. All right, so moving on to Eddie Guerrero and Edge. I mean, and I'm telling you, just from top to bottom, this show was just amazing. Eddie and Edge was great. One thing I miss about Edge, obviously Edge himself. Oh, I have no viewers now. Oh wait, I have one. All right, somebody's joining me. All right, Edge and Eddie Guerrero. Really, I enjoyed that match. Edge coming out to Rob Zombie's "Never Gonna Stop." That's something I really do miss. And as iconic as Metalingus is, that is one interesting that I truly miss from Edge. First thing I noticed in this match was a botched flapjack. Eddie Guerrero didn't get up high enough, and it could have been devastating. Edge tied Eddie Guerrero's arms up in the ropes and hit a spear. While Eddie's arms was tied up in the ropes, he couldn't defend himself. Edge would go for another spear, and Eddie would move out of the way, and he would go to the outside of the ring, and he looked like he got a stinger pretty bad. He got hurt, and Eddie focused on the shoulder, on his shoulder after that. Now, one thing about wrestling that I see a lot is the whole going to the well more than once. Like, somebody will do something, and then they'll do it again, and then the third time they get caught. Or in this time, it was the second time they get caught. That's something I see in wrestling a lot. We'll go to my notes here. Let's see what we got. Somebody else went live. Yeah, but my live video is better, so screw them. Eddie basically spent most of the match working the left shoulder. This would end eventually with Edge going over with the spear with the injured shoulder. But this was the beginning of a series of matches that they would have in 2002. Which with each one being better and better. They would wrestle again at Unforgiven. Then they would have the blow off match on SmackDown, which honestly the one match they gave away for free on TV was the best one. So Edge and Eddie was a 3.5. Jericho Ric Flair was a 3. Moving on to Booker T and Goldust versus the Un-Americans. Lance Storm and drawing a mind blank. Lance Storm and Christian defending the tag titles against Booker T and Goldust. I thought that the momentum of the show would go down, but it actually didn't. I mean, it kept the momentum basically where it was. Now I have no viewers. Oh well. Tag title match, pretty much a standard tag match. Something you would see on Raw and SmackDown, but it was good. Goldust took the heat. Booker T got the hot tag. Ref went down, and then Test interfered, booted Booker T in the face, and then, of course, the Un-Americans go over. But this is what I didn't like about this match. I didn't mind the interference from Test, but the referee was in the wrong place at the wrong time as far as seeing the interference. Because based on where the camera, what up, Mike? Based on where the camera was at, you can clearly see the referee see Test interfere in the match. So, I mean, I know the Un-Americans were going to go over, but there should have been a disqualification there because the referee saw it. The referee may not have seen the actual attack, but if the referee actually sees, and Michael Contos is a referee, so you can identify with what I'm talking about right now. The referee saw Test get out of the ring, so you had to know there was interference there. But he didn't call for the bell. He just kind of saw it and then act like he didn't saw it, and then the pinfall with Christian no Booker T, and then the match was over. So I think the referee was in the wrong place there. Other than that little bit, the match was still good. It was fluid. I gave that a 3. Jamie Noble, boy. There was a Jamie Noble segment, and I was just excited to see Jamie Noble. That's all I have to say about that. And then we got another backstage segment with Stephanie McMahon and Eric Bischoff teasing more sexual tension. And they were actually discussing Chris Benoit and RVD, which is my next match I'm about to go into. Now, backstory here with Chris Benoit and RVD. This was 2002, so this was the draft year where they had a Raw roster and a SmackDown roster. Chris Benoit was drafted to Raw originally. He didn't make his return from injury until I think June or July that year. When he made his return from injury, he beat RVD for the Intercontinental title, but the rosters weren't locked. So the rosters weren't frozen, so they could bounce back and forth to Raw and SmackDown if they wanted to. So Chris Benoit won the Intercontinental title and took it to SmackDown. And Eddie Guerrero also followed Benoit to SmackDown. So this was the only interpromotional match on the show. And, you know, the camera kept cutting back to Stephanie McMahon and Eric Bischoff watching backstage because this was such an important match. From a wrestling standpoint, this was the match. This was the best match on the show. From a pure wrestling standpoint, this was the best match on the show. Van Dam took a nasty looking German suplex and landed on the back of his head, and I don't know whether RVD was selling or if he was really out of it, or a combination of the both, but that German suplex was nasty, as a lot of Benoit suplexes are. Benoit really whooped RVD's ass a lot of this match. I mean, the match started off with RVD basically throwing really hard kicks to keep Benoit away from him, basically. But once Benoit grabbed that leg and swallowed him down, Benoit was all over him like white on rice. Benoit was throwing suplexes. He was throwing snap suplexes. Chris Benoit actually threw a hammerlock Northern Lights suplex. And if you don't know what that is, it's hard to describe. A hammerlock is basically your arm is behind you. So Benoit had his RVD's arm pinned behind him, picked him up, gave him a suplex, held it, bridged the hammerlock again, gave him another suplex, held it, bridged the arm again, gave him another Northern Lights suplex. It was insane. But RVD would eventually get the advantage towards the end. After getting the heat, he would make his comeback. He'd fire, get Benoit down, hit that frog splash, and secure the Intercontinental title, and would bring the Intercontinental title back to Raw. Which, while I'm talking about this, I hope with this year's draft that they don't have, like, The Miz and Rusev locked on their respective shows. Like, I want to have that competition where, like, hey, I'm taking the Intercontinental title to SmackDown, or I'm taking the U.S. title to Raw, or we got both titles, bitch. Yeah, that's what I want to see this year. I don't want to see the champions kind of being locked on the one show. Same thing with the women's title. They need to, you know, have that title available for both rosters. That's just my opinion on that. I gave that match a 4. I gave the tag title match a 3. We had some more sexual tension between Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon, where Stephanie just kind of laughed and walked away. I'm going to leave that alone. We go to Test versus The Undertaker. There's something I forgot to talk about with the Un-Americans, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it here. Because the tag title match and Test and Undertaker both fall under this tired storyline that the WWE likes to use, where it's like America versus foreign country. They've been doing it in the WWE for years. They did it with Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan when Slaughter joined Iraq or Iran or whatever foreign country that was. It's just a storyline that gets used to death and it's old. Like, I love America. Okay, I'm an American. I was in the army. Like, I love America, but it's just, I feel like when you do that America versus foreign country, it's just cheap heat, and it's even cheap face pops too. Because, oh, he's an American, so let's cheer for America. Because America, fuck yeah, America. The Undertaker versus Test. Why is this match happening? Oh, because Test is from Canada and the Undertaker is the American badass. Because he's American. Fuck yeah, America. Fuck yeah. Okay, I'm done. Despite that, um, America versus foreign storyline, the match was passable. It was, like I said, it was Undertaker versus Test. I've never been a Test fan, really. Like, I can't think of one Test match that just stands out in my mind that I just love. I mean, I guess Test versus Shane McMahon at SummerSlam 1999, but I'm a Shane McMahon mark, so I don't even count that. I'm just not a big fan of Test. But Taker basically works well with just about anybody. The match was passable. I gave it a 2.8. Nothing memorable happened, but there is something I want to talk about with the referee again in this match, or just how matches should happen in general. I feel like if you see someone who is not involved in the match get into the ring, I feel like that should be a disqualification on site. Michael Contos, if you're still watching, comment and let me know if you agree with me. And I'll tell you why I think it should be a disqualification on site. Because in this match, both Christian and Lance Storm got involved, okay? They hit the ring, and Undertaker started attacking Lance Storm and Christian. Gave them both choke slams, and then tested a big boot. The reason why I think a disqualification should happen on site is because even if the outside wrestler doesn't touch the wrestler involved in the match, that wrestler involved in the match is still fighting off the outside invaders, which has caused them to get distracted, which caused the Undertaker to get the big boot, which could have still ended the match, you know? So I think it should be disqualification on site, not when the outside wrestler touches an active competitor in the ring. My opinion. Anyway, Undertaker ended the match with a tombstone pile driver because America. I don't know. He was doing the last ride a lot at this point in his career, but for whatever reason, he used a tombstone power driver because America. Moving on. That was a 2.8. Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. I didn't have to write notes for this match. I didn't have to write shit for this match because I've watched this match several times. And even before watching this match, I teetered on what rating I was going to give it. Like, I wanted to give this match a 5. I wanted to, because this match was just storytelling at its best. I mean, you got Shawn Michaels, who hadn't wrestled in 4 years. You know, he had been on TV sporadically throughout those 4 years, but never in an active wrestling role. He was just like a commissioner, or he would just randomly show up and referee a match or something like that. During this time off, he changed his life around. He discovered God, and you know, I'm a Christian. I'm not trying to put my religion on any of you guys. I know I just swore in this video, but you know, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. He changed his life around, got himself healthy again, got off pills, stopped drinking, completely changed his life around, and he received the call in 2002 to come back to the WWE. Not in a wrestling capacity. This is when they tried to revamp the NWO thing, which was doomed from the start. But I need a whole nother video to talk about the NWO. Anyway, they did the NWO thing. Oh no, what up, Dan? Kevin Nash had not torn his quad at this point. So we had Kevin Nash bring back Shawn Michaels, and then X-Pac and Big Show, and they had the NWO. But then Kevin Nash tore his quad. Scott Hall was already fired or suspended at this point. And basically, the NWO just wasn't getting any traction at all. So Vince McMahon decided just to nix the whole thing. And, Shawn Michaels obviously was still in the company. So the direction they went with Shawn was to basically have Shawn feud with Triple H. And this feud started originally because Triple H wanted Shawn Michaels to be his manager, to be at his side, watch his back or whatever. And Shawn Michaels was like, whoa, I'm fucking Shawn Michaels. Like, I'm not going to be your sidekick. And basically decided not to be a sidekick. So the next week on Raw, they would bring back DX. Or we thought they would bring back DX. And then next thing you know, Triple H pedigree Shawn. And then that is where the whole storyline took off from there. Triple H and Shawn Michaels in 2002 wrestled for about maybe 35, 40 minutes. And I know I'm going to sound biased because I'm a Shawn Michaels fan. He's my favorite wrestler. And I don't care if I sound biased or not. I didn't give this match a 5, and I'll tell you why I didn't give it a 5. It was too slow paced for me to give it a 5. But it was slow paced for a reason, because they were telling a story. Triple H worked on Shawn Michaels' back. Jim Ross and King really stressed upon how sensitive Shawn Michaels' back is. And Triple H would do sidewalk slams. Triple H did a backbreaker. Triple H hit him in the back with a steel chair. Triple H had Michaels upside down in a turnbuckle and hit Michaels with the back of with a steel chair. It was blood. Not that I'm bloodthirsty or anything, but it was a blood feud. So there was bleeding. Triple H's blade job was probably better than Shawn Michaels was, or deeper. I don't know if better is an adjective you want to use to describe that, but Michaels hit a sweet chin music on Triple H while Triple H had a chair in his hand, and the blade job was fantastic. There was tables broken, there was ladders, there was fire extinguishers, there was trash cans, there was trash can lids. Oh, something else I want to tell you about this match. This was a non-sanctioned match because for whatever reason, Eric Bischoff didn't want the WWE to be responsible for anything that may happen to any of these guys. So you had the non-sanctioned gimmick. JR even said this goes beyond a hardcore match. The one line that Jerry Lawler said that I'm surprised Lawler got away with, or maybe he didn't get away with it. Maybe Vince yelled at him backstage about it. Shawn Michaels took a boot off of one of the announcers and hit Triple H in the head with it, with the heel of the boot. And then Lawler goes, a heel for a heel. And then JR's like, an eye for an eye, a heel for a heel. I guess JR was trying to cover for what Lawler said. Most people won't catch that, but somebody like me would catch it. I wouldn't have caught it back then. I had actually never watched this show. Today was the first day is the first time I've actually watched SummerSlam 2002 in its entirety. I've watched Triple H and Shawn Michaels, their match, 1,000 times probably, and I've seen Rock and Brock before, which is why these last two matches I didn't really have to write a lot down. I can just talk about them. But yeah, the ending sequence was beautiful. Michaels went for the sweet chin music. Triple H caught it, spun him around, kicked him in the gut, went for the pedigree. Michaels did a steamboat leg grab. I think that's called a steamboat press. Grabbed both his legs, flipped over him. 1, 2, 3. It was just, the crowd erupted. I get goosebumps every time I watch it. The goosebump moment that I got though watching this match that I always get every time I watch this match. I mean, the steamboat press, I get goosebumps for that too. Of course, I get goosebumps just hearing Shawn Michaels' music and just seeing him come out and seeing the confetti and the fans erupt. But the one moment that gave me the goosebumps is when Michaels is standing on top of the ladder. He says, "I love each and every one of you." I think that's what he said. He just jumped off, did the elbow drop. And then he just, as he hit the elbow drop, he just laid on the mat, got up, and was like, just started shaking like he still had it. And then the ending sequence is where that came into play, which I just told you about. I'm going to sound like a mark. I'm going to sound biased. I don't care. I didn't give it a 5 because it was slow paced. but I'm giving this match a 4.9. I gave it a 4.9. I teetered between 4.8 and a 5, and the only 5 I've ever given was Undertaker and Triple H in Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania 28 when Michaels as the referee. That's the only 5 that I've ever given. And I didn't do a video for WrestleMania 28. I did a written review for that. But I think I might do a video for WrestleMania 28 eventually. But 4.9 is where I went with that. Of course, he had the gimmick afterwards where Triple H hit Shawn Michaels in the back with a sledgehammer twice. And Michaels had to be carried out on a gurney. And that was just Triple H at his heelest moment. Because remember, Triple H wasn't a heel in 2002 up until the point where he betrayed Shawn Michaels in July. And as a face, Triple H really didn't do shit in 2002. Like, he would get momentum and then he would lose it. Like, he won the Royal Rumble. He lost to Kurt Angle at No Way Out. He beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 28 to win the title. Yay. He wins the title, and then he loses to Hogan the next month. I talked about Jericho and Triple H earlier, where the Hell in a Cell match where Jericho lost, when I was talking about Jericho's bad year. Triple H won that. He lost to Undertaker at King of the Ring. I think he got injured again, and then that's where the Triple H and Shawn Michaels feud started. So, Triple H really did... What up, Mitch? Triple H really did not have... He would have to start, stop momentum in 2002 until he turned heel. So I think turning heel really helped him that year. That match was a 4.9. There was a segment on after that, which I don't like segments on pay-per-views. If you watch my videos, y'all know every single time there's a segment, I usually rip it apart. But I will give this segment credit. It was short and sweet and straight to the point. But the reason why I didn't like the segment, because after seeing Triple H bash Michaels in the back with a sledgehammer, and seeing Shawn Michaels carried out like that, to just do a funny segment just seemed completely out of place. And remember, I had never watched SummerSlam 2002 in its entirety. So when I see Michaels get carried out, and then I see Howard Finkel in the ring talking shit, I'm like, what? This doesn't even... It just seemed out of place, and it seemed inappropriate. I mean, oh wow, Naughty Kid Rock. I like this song. Anyway, so Howard Finkel, I guess I forgot about this storyline in 2002, or I really didn't pay much attention. I guess Howard Finkel was feuding with Trish Stratus for some reason, or he was feuding with Lillian Garcia. I don't know what it was, but Howard Finkel came out and started talking shit about how he had been there since WrestleMania 2. Then Trish cut him off, and I guess 2 weeks prior to this, I guess Trish slapped him in the face, and then the week after that, she did something to him, and then they hugged, and then Lillian Garcia appeared behind him and slapped him in the face and kicked him in the balls, and Lillian lost her balance kicking Howard Finkel in the balls, and it was just like, okay, yeah, let's just get the main event on. So then that happened. So then we got Rock and Brock. This match was really... I mean, I gave it a pretty high rating because it did pick up. It was fast-paced throughout. It was no slowing down. But it was still rather average, but a higher average. So a B+ at best. 3.8 is what I gave this. Really nothing... Honestly, nothing really to say about this match. I had watched it a few times before. I've always hated Rock's sharpshooters for some reason. They just don't look effective, especially on a big ass frame like Brock Lesnar. I think Bret Hart applying the sharpshooter to Brock Lesnar would look more legitimate or threatening than The Rock doing it. I just don't like the way The Rock does it. Paul Heyman was too much of a factor in this match for me to take Brock's... Oh, my computer went out. Paul Heyman was too much of a factor for me to take Brock's win serious. It was just, it's like, Paul Heyman interfered at least 10 or 12 times in this match. And it made Brock look weak. And, well, let me back up a little bit. Let me basically build this match up for you guys. For you guys that don't know. This match came about because Brock Lesnar won King of the Ring. He had already had the rocket ship push prior to King of the Ring. So it was, I don't want to say it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to win King of the Ring, but with that push behind him, it wasn't surprising that he won King of the Ring. So Brock Lesnar won King of the Ring. This is the only King of the Ring, to my knowledge, that had the stipulation of the winner going to SummerSlam to fight for the title. I'm trying to think of any other King of the Rings. I'm pretty sure, because even 2001, Edge fought Lance Storm for the Intercontinental title, but that wasn't like stipulated beforehand. Trying to think. I think even 2006. No, that was Booker T. That wasn't to face for the world title, even though he would eventually get the title shot. Anyway, nonetheless, Brock won King of the Ring. That got him a title shot at SummerSlam. Undertaker was a champion at that point, but he lost it to The Rock in a triple threat match involving Angle and Vengeance. So then we got Brock and Rock, which was smart to kind of get the title off Taker. That way they could build the Brock Taker later on that year. So they went with Brock and Rock instead. Rock did the favor because Rock was leaving. Take notes, Brett. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Rock did the favor because The Rock was leaving. Yeah, I know it's 2016. I know that was 1997. But take notes, Brett. Yeah. Because Brett's group. Okay, no, I'm done. But yeah, I'm telling Brett to take notes. I think Rock should take notes on how to properly apply the sharpshooter. Guns for everybody. I'm shooting on all y'all motherfuckers. I don't care. Anyway, so that's how the match was set up. Brock, Rock, SummerSlam for the title. The heat for The Rock was real. But these fans were so fickle. Like, they'd be saying, Rock, he sucks. Rock, he sucks. And then Brock Lesnar, they would cheer for Brock. They would boo Brock. These fans didn't know what the hell they were doing. I guess this is Long Island. That's where they were at for this show. The rock bottom on Paul Heyman through the table might have been the ugliest rock bottom I have ever seen in my life. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know whether... I don't know what went wrong. It just didn't look good. Like, the table broke weird and The Rock tripped over Heyman, and it was just disgusting. You'd have to watch it. Then they did the thing where we kick out of people's finishers. Rock hit a rock bottom and Brock kicked out. And then Brock did a rock bottom and Taz called it a Brock bottom. And I chuckled. A Brock bottom. And The Rock kicked out. And then the ending sequence would be The Rock went for the spine buster. Did the ran and but then Brock moved out of the way and went for the F5. Rock would counter. Rock went for the rock bottom. Brock will counter. Rock will go for the rock bottom again. Brock will go underneath his arm this time. Brock would go for the F5. I think I missed something there. I think there was an F5 counter to the rock bottom, to the counter, 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 to the F5. And then it was a 1, 2, 3. I give this a 3.8 because it was fast paced. I mean, and I really like the continuity in the storytelling. Again, The Rock's ribs were hurt from his match with Triple H on the Raw prior, and I think it was like a handicap match with Benoit and Eddie Guerrero where his ribs were hurt. So Brock, of course, focused on the ribs with the bear hugs and the suplexes. And Heyman snuck a steel chair into the ring, and Brock used the chair. But again, the Heyman factor really hindered Brock. It made me not take Brock serious because Heyman constantly interfered. and it wouldn't just be this match. I mean, the only match that I can give Brock credit for that made me take Brock serious in his first run as the WWE champion is this match with the Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell, because Heyman wasn't a factor. Well, Heyman got his ass whooped, so he couldn't be a factor. Because even the match at Unforgiven ended with a double DQ. And then, you know, he had the match at Hell in a Cell, or at No Mercy inside Hell in a Cell, and then he lost to the Big Show at Survivor Series. I don't think that Brock Lesnar was ready to be WWE champion. And the problem with giving the WWE title to someone that young is that they achieve the pinnacle so early in their career that there's nothing for them to fight for anymore. You know, the same thing with Randy Orton in 2004. And Randy Orton was younger when he won the world title. Randy Orton was 24, Brock Lesnar was 25. And you notice Brock Lesnar left the company 2 years later after winning his first title, because he had nothing. What else could he do? He was the WWE champion. There was nothing more for Brock to do at that point. I mean, he would get the title back at WrestleMania against Kurt. He would win the title again, and then he would lose the title, and then he left the company because he accomplished. What's up, Joey? I'm about to end the video. You can go back and watch it if you want. But Brock Lesnar accomplished so much so fast that by 2004, he had already accomplished everything already. So there was no point in him staying. You know, you could say that he didn't like the travel schedule. I think that was one of the reasons he quit. But I honestly think that he accomplished so much so fast that he got to the top. Once you get to the top, there's nowhere to go but down. I mean, what are you going to do with a guy like Brock Lesnar in 2004 after he had already been a 3-time WWE champion? You're going to give him the U.S. title? You're going to give him the Intercontinental title? No. I mean, so, anyway, that match rating was 3.8. My average overall rating for SummerSlam 2002 was a 3.5, which that is high as hell. Snoop Dogg can't even get any higher than that. I mean, just look at, and these are just my ratings. So please don't take my opinion seriously. These are my opinions. These ratings. Now, these ratings are not pulled from my ass. I mean, each match is given a specific rating based on how the match entertained me, storytelling, wrestling, everything goes into these ratings. So, I mean, we kicked off Angle and Mysterio 3.2, Jericho Flair 3, Edge and Eddie Guerrero 3.5. You know, those are all high threes. And the show is just getting started. The Tiger match was a 3. Orton RVD 4. The low match in the card was Test and Undertaker. That was 2.8. And then Triple H and HBK, because I'm a mark, I gave that a 4.9. And, you know, 3.8. So, really, we had a lot of high ratings for all these matches. And, in my opinion, this is the best SummerSlam card put together, top to bottom. You can argue 2000. You can argue 98. You can argue 2001. 2001 was a little shoddy, but 01 was pretty decent. And the reason why I liked this particular show was because it was wrestling oriented more so than anything. It was wrestling oriented. It wasn't a lot of bullshit. It wasn't a lot of. We had the Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon stuff, but that was to a minimum. You know, that's why I enjoy this particular SummerSlam so much. And this is going to be the first episode in a series I do where I take 4 of the big 4 pay-per-views that I think are the best pay-per-views and review them. And I'll let you know what they are now, so you can be on the lookout for them. I just did SummerSlam 2002. Survivor Series 2002, I think, is going to be one of those shows that I think is the best Survivor Series card, top to bottom, in my opinion. So, I put Survivor Series 2002. I'm kind of struggling with Rumble, and WrestleMania 17 is a no-brainer. So, anyway, I gave this a 3.5 overall rating. This has been my episode. I'm feeling stupid because I don't remember what number it is, but I'll edit that on YouTube. I'm Warren. It's been real. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night.